Most people think retirement is about what you start doing, travelling more, relaxing more, filling your time. But for me, retirement has been more about what I've stopped doing. And honestly, that's where everything changed. Because when you stop working, you don't just get your time back. You get to decide what deserves your time. And that's a very different way to live. So I'm going to share with you here the 6 key things I don't do anymore since retiring and why I've let them go. But it doesn't stop there, because as a little bonus, I'm going to reveal the key thing I do more of in retirement that took me a tad by surprise. So be sure to be hanging around for that one. If you're new here or you're a returning viewer, my name's Paul and thanks for stopping by. Now let's get stuck in. I used to have the news on all the time, before and after work, on the way to work, weekends. Now it's rarely on, if at all. Not because I don't care, but because most of it's noise, negative and repetitive crap, most of which is completely out of my control. And at this stage of life, I'm a lot more productive of where my energy goes. Of course I still stay informed, but I choose how and when. A quick check of a few websites and the occasional well-produced podcast. But that's typically it for me these days. Because I've realised just because something is happening in the world, or if somebody thinks something is remotely newsworthy, it doesn't mean it deserves a piece of my day. This actually started not long before I retired, and I've kept it going. Because when I look back, driving for me was a mix of stress and wasted time. Traffic, frustration, rushing from one place to the other. So now I walk more. I use public transport instead of gripping a steering wheel and yelling at the traffic. I'm listening, I'm learning, reading, catching up on things, and just using that time way more productively, and definitely in a way more chilled manner. And sometimes, believe it or not, it can even involve chatting to a stranger, which, funny enough, feels way more human than anything I used to do in a car. And look, I'm not saying I'll never own a car again, but right now, I don't miss it. This is one of those small changes that makes a big difference. These days, I don't wait until something's wrong. I go to the doctor when I'm well. And I don't sit around in waiting rooms waiting for hours either. Retirement gives you flexibility, so I always book the first appointment of the day. In and out, simple. So for me, it's just about being proactive with your health and hopefully picking up something on the distant horizon rather than dealing with an emergency tsunami here on the shoreline. This is probably my favourite one and one of the real great things about retirement. Because going out used to mean dinner. Now, I much prefer going out for lunch. The whole experience is different. It's more relaxed, more interesting, less rushed, and just a completely different vibe. There's really a different mix of people, and you often find yourself having random conversations with the people on the adjacent table. And somehow it feels more connected. Plus, the good thing is, it's usually cheaper. There's always lunch specials on offer, quieter venues, that type of thing. And if there's a bottle of wine involved, which sometimes there often is, here in Australia we have a long-standing tradition where some restaurants allow you to even bring your own bottle of wine for a small fee. What could go wrong? And once lunch is done, you still have a reasonable chunk of the afternoon in front of you, and often don't need much for dinner. This might be one of retirement's most underrated luxuries, and that's space. I don't go out when everyone else does anymore. No packed supermarkets, no crowded trains, no unnecessary stress. I just wait and do things on my time. Sounds simple, but it completely changes how your day feels because you're no longer moving around with the pressure of everyone else's schedule. Rather, you're doing things when it suits you and on your terms. Now, this one might sound a bit boring, but it's real. Absolutely, I still exercise every day. That hasn't changed. But I'm more selective about how. Things like skiing, bikes, scooters, I just don't see the upside anymore because the reality is when you get injured at this stage of life, you don't always come back the same way as you used to. So it's not about fear, it's about being honest with the trade-offs. So those are the things I've let go. And in the grand scheme of things, none of them have felt like a sacrifice. If anything, they've made life feel a little lighter, more intentional, more mine. Now for the bonus part that I didn't expect, and the one thing I do more of now than ever before, and that's personal development, which is strange because I always associated that with my career. You know, things like courses, learning, growth. I thought that would stop when I retired, but the opposite had happened. Because now, I'm not learning for work, I'm learning for me. There's more headspace, more curiosity, more freedom to explore things I never had time for before. And in a way, it feels like a whole new chapter has opened. So now I'm curious, if you've retired, what's something you've stopped doing that has actually made your life better? Or if you're still planning or in the lead-up phase to retirement, what is it that you want to stop doing? Leave a comment because I'd be genuinely keen to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Really appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.